so this is my game, Lo-Fi Dreamscape. I will be doing a quick walkthrough and trying to explain things as I go. So you start off and there's islands around you, not much, direction other than this dynamic ball above the middle of the island. So you can't actually jump anywhere other than this area, and so this forces an internal scaffolding with the player, and they cannot actually progress until they learn how to jump. So I'm just going to jump up these middle platforms and continue talking. So you get to the top and I'll pick up a ball, and what it's going to do is spawn in the first in-game objectives. There's 3 orbs, and then there's the ways to get to the orbs, and it'll give you an ability to continue the scaffolding and then a double jump right in front of us. So if you fail, it's okay because there's a catchful that spawned in. However, if you make it, great, right? If you fail, again, very low risk. You get across, you get this orb, and then what will happen? So you'll be looking, and ooh, there's pretty flowers that spawn in. But you'll also notice in the top left corner, right, the catchball is gone now. That it's been established, by the way, because I figured it'd be clutter on the map. But it's been established that you gain points by picking up these balls, and this is just further reinforced the more you gain. So you pick up a green orb, and what happens? This starts to spawn in trees within the center of the map. And so this sorts to continue reinforcing this idea that you pick up an orb and something happens, which is really good because that's, their function. So you continue doing this double jump that you've learned. Pick up the Cyan orb. What does it do? We're at 3 points. That's cool. Oh, it spawns in rocks. Ooh, what's that? There's some nice, glowy orbs that look similar to the ones. Oh, they've expanded. Okay. So now it brings attention from the center island to the outer islands, and this sort of establishes this further narrative of exploration. So we've delved into our center island, and right about now the visual orbs spawn in. These are the black orbs that are similar to the first one you picked up. Actually, they're exactly the same. So you pick it up, and what happens? You expect something to happen. Ooh, look, dynamic thing right in front of you. Cool. So now you have the ability to explore outward from the center, and the map is purposely given a layout, a design, to go outward from the center. And so you go further from the center, and it increases its complexity, which is really nice. But you go up this bridge, and you've got more of these orbs. Now what's interesting about these orbs is some of them don't only spawn in natural items, they also spawn in structures. For example, there's a well in front of me. All of the islands are built in a way that's unique from one another, and so you'll never be spawning in the exact same things twice. They're all made, or I guess tailored, to the islands that they're connected to. And so it's not a generic thing. Now, you pick up this visual orb, you've got another thing here, great, right? And so when you're jumping, okay, so I fell, right? And that's actually good because it shows us a checkpoint. So all of the islands have their own checkpoints and their own respawn points. So it doesn't matter what island you've traveled to, it'll always be convenient to continue from where you left off if you fall off the map. So it creates a fairly low stress gameplay design. There's no lives, there's no penalty for dying, you can do it as often as you want, everything's okay. So you get up here, there's another one of these magenta orbs, and ooh, another structure. Okay, so now it's been reinforced a little more, right, that there is this function to the orbs, right? The pink spawns in the flowers, the cyan spawns in rocks, the green spawns in trees. However, different colored orbs sometimes spawn in structures as well, and that is also something that I try to heavily reinforce throughout it. So you'll notice that I just took a shortcut down, and that's completely fine. Players can go step by step, or they can go and take these shortcuts if they would so choose, and that's completely fine. So I'm going to take a little bit of time here to focus on the theme of the game. So it's supposed to be relaxing, a little bit of a puzzle, a little bit of exploration. And so in going through the map, the whole idea narratively is that you're a person exploring their own dreamscape, and you're creating the beauty, the life that's within it. So when you are traveling through this relatively bland starting environment, you are manually bringing life to it by picking up these orbs. And so you're kind of trying to have an end game of a beautiful dream, if that sort of makes sense. Anyways, ooh, cool. Okay, so if you look up in the top, it should show you, yes, okay, so all of the bridges are on their own respawn timers, and so they'll actually disappear after a certain amount of time to prevent clutter on the map. I didn't want there to be too much of a focus on where the roads are, more so than the beauty of the map itself. I thought that having all the bridges spawned in and play all the time would take away from that, and so that's why I wound up making the decision originally in the design to have these sort of visual orbs to begin with. Now, I'm going to go down here. Got a little bridge spawning, cool. Probably I'll just take a shortcut. So, you get down here, got this going, which is pretty cool. Oh, here we go. Alright, so now it's time to talk about more so the puzzle aspect of the game. We've been exploring pretty vividly, but actually, you know what? I'll put that on hold. I'm going to first talk about direction. So I chose to go in one particular direction, just out of personal preference, when I left the middle island. However, you may have noticed that there were 3 of the black visual orbs that were on the island. You could go in any direction and take on the objectives in any order that you'd like. It's completely fine. The challenges around the map are set to be done in any order, which is really nice just because of the way they're scripted. So, because of this additive effect of the numbers, with no necessary order that they're required to be absorbed in, it creates an ability for free exploration, which I was really sort of adamant on. Also, you could totally hear my dog snoring in the background, just ignore him. But, what was I saying? Okay, so, talked about that. There we go. So now I could start talking about the puzzles. So, some portions of the map, like the one we're actually walking up on right now, have orbs that aren't entirely accessible. So you'll notice that there's the magenta orb above me right now, and if I try to jump, I will not be able to get it. You can't really see, but I try to double jump, and we're nowhere near it. You can't even see it on your screen. Sometimes you have to go a little indirectly with your strategy to gain the orbs in your movement, in your choice of objectives to take on. Sometimes you have to leave and come back to create an area that allows you to reach it. So, for example, I'm about to come over here, and there's a structural orb that I'm about to pick up, right? So this one spawns in rocks, because it's Cyan, but it's also going to spawn in a mine on that other island that we just came from. So you'll see it spawning in, right? And it's a structure. So we go there, right? And now that we've gone to the island above, and we've investigated it, we now have this ability to climb up this fantastic little structure here, these rocks, this mine, and pick up this magenta orb. So now, right, there should be flowers spawning in. Yes, okay, so cool. So you go around the environment, and there's 2 orbs that have that sort of climbing mechanic where you have to spawn something in. I just fell again, but that's okay because I have a checkpoint. Anyways, there's 2 orbs that have that sort of climbing puzzle mechanic, and then there's an entire island, actually, that can only be reached by thinking outside of the box. So, not the ones that we're going to right now, but the island that's sort of down in front of us. You won't see it for a little bit, but I'm going to start talking about it anyways. So the only way to get to that island is actually to jump onto it from above. And the reason I decided to do that is because I really thought it would be nice to add a little bit of thought into the game rather than mindlessly exploring. And so, in being thought-provoking, I thought it would be cool to have the player think outside of the box a bit more manually than they would typically have to think. And so it requires a little bit of problem solving. If you see us jumping over it right now, we are literally right above it. It's the easiest thing in the world to jump onto it. But sometimes people don't think to jump down to it. Sometimes they think, well, there should always be a path to it. Well, yes, that's been sort of pushed a little bit, but it's not something that's required. And so it creates this mental barrier, I guess I would say it, as a sort of intentionally reversed scaffolding. I don't really know how to describe it other than that. I purposely made it so that you're going through the level, you're grading these bridges, and it's great, but then what happens when that expectation is intentionally subverted, right? There's not a direct path to get to this lower island, and so, not that one, the one behind us. And so they're going to have to think, well, okay, I have to find a way to get here. So we'll go down here, right, and now we can pick up more orbs. So you've got more structures here, you've got more rocks, you've got more flowers, and that's all nice and dandy. And then we just saw a flicker of one of the green orbs up top. Pick up a visibility orb, and it should spawn in some form of path. And now we can start moving upward towards this structure. You'll see that we've got 19 orbs, and so that big orb, that big black orb in the middle spawned. There's actually 20 points that people usually wind up getting when they're playing the game. However, I purposely put the score down to 9 in case a player missed one of the orbs. I didn't think it would be cool for a player to have to go through the level searching, you know, far and wide to find one orb that they missed. I feel like that would be stressful and kind of tedious. And so I sort of put this buffer in so that the player can have that sort of leeway. You just saw a bit of a bridge getting absorbed again, but if we look around, all of the objectives are spawned in, right? So this spawned in, this black orb actually only spawns in by getting the green orb we just got. So as far as the puzzle goes, the only way to, you know, get back from those two lower islands is to complete the puzzle by finding and obtaining that green orb. So you come back here, we've got 20 out of 19, and we've got the end game. Bottom line, I really enjoyed making this level, and I was a little concerned about scope in the beginning, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I had just enough time to do it all. I actually finished it earlier today. It was nice, and it wound up reflecting the sort of experience that I was trying to tailor in designing it. It's a little bit of a puzzle, it's a little explorative, it's a little calm and zen. You may have heard the looping music in the background. That was intentional, and that's actually part of the game. That wasn't in the background of my computer. It's very calming piano music, which kind of plays into that. Oh, you know what? I totally just forgot. I also have a start menu. I'm just going to jump in really quick and play, because I just realized I totally forgot to show that part. My apologies. Okay, so we're here, and you've got resume, and you've got quit, and it quits the application, which is really cool. But anyways, that is my game. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy your night.